All right, guys. I don't know what fucking episode this is, but I think it's like episode 16. I think, but it doesn't matter. We are joined here by the biggest FlyQuest fan I have ever met. How are you, dude?
I'm good. My username's Insea, so I should have mentioned that.
Insea? Oh, it's like Inuyasha.
No, everyone says that, but no,
have you
not
ever
Inuyasha.
have you ever watched Inuyasha?
I have not. I know what it is though.
Oh my god, you missing out, bro. You missing out.
Maybe I'll try one day. We'll see.
So, how long have you been a FlyQuest fan for?
Since their first season, basically, I knew of Cloud9 Challenger, but basically, my first season watching LCS was that first roster with Moon, Altic, High, Lemon, Balls. So a lot of people forget that Altic was the first ADC that FlyQuest had, not Wild Turtle.
I remember.
And from there, I watched the first split from home, and it was when they got to the the third place match against Phoenix One, and they had like a 2-1 lead and they lost.
Oh yeah, I remember. Good gosh. I'll take Pentakill on Kog'Maw, baby.
Yeah, God, I forgot when ADCs weren't fucking brain dead. But yeah, so basically from the beginning, I've gone to LCS a bunch. I'm in college in the LA area now, so I've actually been going a lot this split. I went like 3-4 times. Yeah, I tune Hotline League sometimes with some FlyQuest takes. The one that people clipped a lot was at the beginning, or before the season, I said FlyQuest would be a top 3 team, and Kelby was like calling me crazy and all this stuff. And what do you know? FlyQuest is a top 3 team. Of course, now LCS is suspended, so don't really know where we're going to go from there. But yeah, that's some context to me, I suppose.
See, I always saw FlyQuest as a team that had good enough players, but never better than the top teams. So their actual ceiling is more or less so always around that 4th place mark in general. That's what I always saw from them. You know, their past rosters always had players like Flame, Stunt. At one point, they got Santorin now, who they have now, obviously. And then it's always a group of players that you see greatness out of, but then it's never really clutch in certain moments.
Yeah, I agree. They've never really had that carry player. I think really the closest they've ever had is now Power of Evil. But they've never had like that double lifter, that Jensen or C9 Jensen wise. They've never really had that. I think they kind of tried to force Turtle into that position, but because they picked him up right after TSM dropped him when TSM won their split and they just got double lift back. So I think FlyQuest originally was like, oh my god, we got like a world's experienced in LCS winning ADC. We're gonna be really good. Altic was like, okay, but this is such an upgrade, and yeah.
Actually, how did you feel about last year's FlyQuest, where they started off in the spring split, they went to 4th place, they lost to TL in the 3rd, 4th place. They got to 4th place, right? And they lost to TL 3-0, and then they got like 4th in the split.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you feel that for that year? Because after that, the split after, they actually started doing really bad.
Yeah, so from what I remember, spring split last year, they had Pobelter, Santorin, Viper, JJ Turtle. Yeah, that was the spring roster.
Mm-hmm.
So entering that split, I was actually pretty high on JJ. I didn't think he'd be like, this amazing support or anything, but when JJ was introduced after the whole Con incident, where, they just didn't really have support at all, JJ was actually stepping up big time. I thought he was playing really well. He had a really small pool. It was pretty obvious he was like pretty much only playing Braum and like Tom Kench, but he was really, really good at Braum. So when Spring Split was happening and they were like winning games, Pobelter would usually carry on Zoe. Turtle kind of had like just like a Turtle split where, sometimes he'd carry if the rest of the team was doing good. Santorin was just picking a shit ton of, like, if I remember, Sejuani and a lot of Rek'Sai. Viper had the Riven games. I think that was Viper's first split too. Yeah, because Flame, they didn't re-sign Flame that season. So this was Viper's rookie split, and he was popping off a lot. Like, I had, like, high hopes for them, but, like, never anything like, oh, they're going to win playoffs. They're going to be, like, this crazy LCS team. They're going to go to World. So I was just like, this team looks good enough. It looks a lot better from the disaster they had with Anda, Fly, and that last roster.
Oh
That
yeah,
just
yeah. Good
did
lord, man.
absolutely nothing. So when they were doing well in spring, I was really, really happy. But they would have these really like nice games where Pro Belter was like, "Oh, we're gonna smash Team Liquid," and they did. In the LCS season game, and then I think Golden Guardians was the perfect matchup for them in the quarterfinals because they were both kind of the one side of the same story type teams where like they both had a really really good mid laner that was kind of carrying them through their game, so the rest of the team would be like kind of inconsistent. And I was actually there for the quarterfinals match between Golden Guardians and FlyQuest. Went 5 games. It was super intense and crazy. And I remember actually having a good amount of hope that because like TL was slumping near the end of the split, and people are saying, oh, they're just like they just don't care about the regular shit. They've already locked in playoffs. They were like, I think they were the 2nd seed, I believe. I think C9 was actually ahead of them last split or that split, or TSM. I forget who it was. But yeah, they go against TL, and what I call like kind of a FlyQuest playoff syndrome is if they ever lose game 1. It seems like they're kind of fucked. And maybe it was just because I was already kind of on like what had happened with them when they were playing. They played 100 Thieves in playoffs. I forget when, but they had like a 50-minute long game, lost, tried the exact same comp, lost again, and then lost game 3 because they're down 0-2. Then in this Team Liquid series, I remember they had some type of play in top lane, and Liquid's pushing into them, and Viper just gets caught out, and they lose the game 1. And then game 2 and 3, they just get rolled over and die.
Man, I remember so many FlyQuest playoffs, and I remember so many of their matches. I actually would have liked to see Cloud9 from 2019 spring and FlyQuest in 2019 spring face off in a 3rd place match. That would have been pretty cool, actually.
I think that would be pretty cool, but I think a lot of league teams, I think they didn't really care too much about the 3rd place match. I mean, I guess they did because of the points for the gauntlet originally. Yeah. But I think like I can attest to this because I was at the Oakland finals, and I went to the 3rd place match. I believe it was between...
It was Clutch and CLG, right?
It was Clutch and CLG, yeah. And I think one of the teams had like a 2-0 lead, and the other team came back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember Clutch is 2-0 up, and then CLG reverse sweeps them.
Yeah, CLG reverse sweeps them. And then didn't it happen again in the gauntlet, too?
Actually, almost. CLG...
It almost happened, yeah.
That would have actually been crazy. Guys, this is when CLG was actually somewhat decent again.
But to answer the original question, Spring Split, I was pretty high on them after even losing to TL in the playoffs 3-0. But then that Summer Split was just a disaster. And honestly, that was one of the only splits in my life that I actually didn't watch too much because I missed a couple of weeks because I was just busy with something, probably school, I'd imagine, back then. But yeah, I was just looking at every week and I'm like, wow, they just lost 0-2 again. And like whenever I tuned in the games, they wouldn't try anything. They would just kind of keel over and die. And when a team is playing that bad after having a really good split, I talked to the video producer for the YouTube channel, and I was asking him, like, why did you guys like not make a lot of content even when you're losing? He's like, we actually did. It was just no one would watch it because nobody watches the content of losing teams usually unless they're super popular. And I kind of was like, really? And I looked, and they actually produced the same exact amount of content they did in spring. So, yeah, that's what was just a disaster. Like, the only things I heard internally was apparently the internet provider for the house they were in or wherever they were scrimming was basically just really fucked up, and they had to practice a lot of LCS studios instead of practicing from home. Ooh. Or wherever they wanted to practice from. And also JJ was just having a really bad split, and then they got Wadid, and Wadid had visa issues, and then Wadid wasn't even that good.
Oh yeah, I remember because Wadid, he was on Rogue, and then Rogue was like 10th place, and then they're like, okay, let's just switch. Let's just, get you get one guy because they got Selfie for their like academy team.
Yeah, they got Selfie.
And then Wadid came over. And I thought Wadid was a decent improvement over JJ, but nothing like spectacular.
Yeah, I think he was a decent improvement, but the thing that's kind of surprised me is FlyQuest knew they were going into the gauntlet that summer, still even having that terrible record, and Pobelter's attested to this many times in many interviews. They apparently, or allegedly, were destroying in scrims, which is, funny scrims. But they were destroying in scrims, and they genuinely thought they were going to win the gauntlet. and they lost 3-1 to Clutch. And after hearing Pobelter say that after watching that 3-1 series to Clutch, it was kind of hard to believe that like really this like after the disaster summer split. But from what I remember is they actually got their internet fixed near the end of the season, and even in that atrocious split, they actually had a couple wins near the end of the season. And when they would win and people would say, oh, technically you're still not knocked out of playoffs, people like Viper would say, we're not really that into playoffs. We're just kind of mostly focusing on Worlds at this point. So it was kind of nice to hear, but at the LCS part of me was like, come on, guys. I mean, if you can make a push for playoffs, I think they should be motivated to do it. But most league players' motivation is Worlds, which is fair.
So going into this year, what do you think they improved on the most to change your feelings about, you being a fan of their team?
They actually have a brand now.
That's true. They're not that Snickers team again.
Yeah, I think when people saw that Round Hotline League, it was a little. I exaggerated a little bit, but I mean,
I don't think they did. But you're like, I probably should have held back something.
I should have held back a little bit, but honestly, people have told me that people from FlyQuest have heard it, and it was kind of a wake up call, and they appreciated it. So I'm glad to hear that. But the team didn't have a brand before. The team just had showcase greatness. But I mean, honestly, when you're a team and you're not winning anything, and you just have a bunch of players that people are like, oh yeah, that player's good, but they don't have that doublelift, they don't have that streaming creator, they don't have anything. People aren't going to give a shit about that team, and that's just me being honest. People aren't going to give a shit about that team. You can go on the FlyQuest Discord and you can look through all the messages from the beginning of the conception. It's probably with consistent people that respond, maybe a group of 10 to 15 people. And including myself. Mm-hmm. And it's grown, of course, over the years as they were doing better in splits, and they got players like Pobelter and players like Turtle and Santorin and stuff. But the team just didn't have an image, and they had this really stupid jersey, their second jersey was
it was all black and yellow.
No, not that one. That one to me I actually thought was okay. They had their first jersey was white and yellow. I thought it was okay. Not the best color scheme in my opinion, but I mean that's their choice, not mine. But they had this subway, I called it Subway Quest. It was green, white, and yellow, and it just kind of looked really bad.
I remember what you're talking about. It's when they had the giant F and Q on the back or something like that.
It was in the front, yeah, but it was white, green, and yellow.
That looked gross.
It was just really, really gross. Then the third jersey they had was a black jersey just with a little FlyQuest logo and some lines and stuff on it. And to me, I was thank God they changed the jersey. But it was still very basic, they were just kind of to me, in my opinion, a team that surprisingly got franchised. And I was very thankful they did, but I was wow, really?
See,
they actually did?
Back when they got franchised with Echo Fox and Echo Fox and them, I was thinking to myself, why did they get chosen over Immortals? I mean, that back then didn't make any sense. That I was still shocked. I'm like, really? Echo Fox and FlyQuest get to stay over Immortals? That seems kind of suspicious. But later on, over the years, we got a chance to figure out why they got to stay. But then later on, Riot realized they were wrong by keeping Echo Fox in general.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, the whole thing with Immortals is Riot thought they weren't going to be sustainable with going into Overwatch League and LCS. And people on Reddit can be like, oh, they wanted to blackball Overwatch League. I really doubt that. I honestly think Riot was just Immortals. Esports is a very, very volatile industry. LCS is trying to make it more stable for at least their game. And Immortals is trying to go into OWL and League. And at the time, people were thinking Overwatch was just going to kill every game. Oh my god.
I remember that. I remember those Reddit posts, man. Dude, that shit was terrible. Oh my god.
Everybody was spouting this shit, and then everybody stopped playing Overwatch within a year.
I told my friends this. Overwatch is the most overrated game in the last 3 years, dude.
I think it's pretty overrated too.
Right? I don't see the appeal to it.
I think the thing that I finally made an opinion on, after years of not playing it, was I didn't play League at the beginning, but from what people told me when League was starting, they were pumping out two to three champions every other week or something. I might be wrong there, but they were pumping out a lot of champions, and Overwatch was taking months to release champions and content. So I think people just got bored of it really fast, because I remember thinking to myself, how can I play League, play the same game with at this point in my League quote unquote career, releasing champions every 3-4 months or so, but then go to Overwatch and play the exact same game that are shorter, but I'm bored of Overwatch and not League. I didn't really know why I thought that for a while, but then eventually I was just like, I get Overwatch was just not producing content in I think a fast enough period to really retain people. But anyway, back to FlyQuest. I think the biggest improvements they made that kind of wanted like kept my interest as a fan and also like made me really excited for this split was they got an actual proven good support player. I was pretty shocked they released Pobelter, but I think after such a disastrous summer split and without knowing about the whole internet thing, I think people wouldn't be opposed to moving him. But I don't know, like as much as I love FlyQuest, I was just watching Face Check with Dom, Loco, and Digon. And as much as I love Turtle, I feel like FlyQuest is just relying so much on keeping Turtle just because he's kind of the face of FlyQuest.
I thought the same thing too.
I really think there's just better ADCs.
Honestly, yeah, he's not really been that good for a very long time, and I don't. He's like Apollo to me. They aren't really good, but they're LCS caliber, and it's like, who can you find better? But that's when you get to a point where at that point, why not just try out an academy player? You know what I mean? At that point, you might as well just get an academy player in there.
Yeah, but it's such a weird, convoluted argument because I think Turtle's good. He's LCS caliber, of course, but I just think, I think there are just better ADCs that if FlyQuest really wants to take that next step, which they've already taken with, I think, PoE and Ignar, which is an amazing addition, I think they kind of need to either change something up, either in top or ADC. And I love Viper and I love Turtle to death. They're great people. They've proven that, they're good players. But, LCS, and this is just the truth of it, LCS is very unforgiving, in my opinion.
True.
You have one bad split, people will put you up, put you on the stake, flame you on Reddit, and I think people go way too far. I think people forget that pros are genuinely people too. But if you're asking me from a statistical standpoint and perspective on winning, if FlyQuest wants to take that next step into being, in LCS finals, going to Worlds, they have such obvious weak links, and I think it's genuinely been this split, and maybe in last two, Viper and Turtle. Viper's been shoved on to just Aatrox, Mord, like 1 or 2 games, and like Riven when he can get it. Like I thought he was carrying really well his first spring split as rookie as a split. He had these really nice Aurelia carry games and such, but I don't know. Like I really, really want Viper to, stay on this team, but if we're going by how unforgiving LCS is, FlyQuest just signed Solo, and he's under the position of, positional coach, but I mean, honestly, I'm not going to be surprised if FlyQuest goes into summer and they put, Solo as the top laner, because they basically have Revenge, too, who's just kind of another, Ribbon one-trick, and of course, Revenge is a very good player on himself. I remember seeing him on the Ranked Wars all the time, just looking at it. Being,
I remember watching some of his Academy games. He's actually pretty good for a top laner.
Yeah, and so I think FlyQuest, I don't know what they're gonna do with Viper, Riven, Viper, Revenge, and Solo all on the same team. But I'm not gonna be surprised if Solo comes in because it looks to me, I don't really know, because FlyQuest has both their import slots up now because they have PoE and Ignar. They can only go domestic, and I think Solo is really the only free agent they could really go for. And
this is the thing I was going to ask you, is that in terms of Viper, who do you really compare him to be better than?
The split or just in general?
Or just we'll say the split to kind of narrow down.
Let me just look up the rosters.
So my top 3, not in any order, is Licorice, Someday, Broken Blade. Then you have a middle pack of Haunter, Huni, Soaz in that category, and then people had Viper as 8th, Ruin 10th. And then you had...
I think Ruin is definitely the worst by far.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion. But, I mean, to me, Viper would only be in that 8 through 10 spot. I can already tell you, and this isn't in particular order, this is just based on, in my opinion. Licorice, Broken Blade, Soaz, Haunter, Someday, by far, already ahead of Viper. Let me go to the contract database. Okay, Someday is definitely above, Licorice is above, Ruin is below. Huni
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
Huni would be above, I think, only because Huni's like, he can play other shit, but he kind of just. I think Dig is just kind of a dumpster fire right now.
Oh
Um,
man, good lord. People were overhyping that week one. 3-0. Oh my
yeah.
god, Dig is gonna take with the LCS. Like, oh
I
my
think
god.
Viper is better than Kumo,
Yeah,
Ruin,
yeah, he is. I agree with that.
Ruin, and maybe arguably Huni. But I think everyone else is kind of above him. And I just don't know what the problem is. Like, maybe it's champ pool, but like
Meta.
meta, maybe. Like, when they shoved him on Ornn in all those games, at first I'm like, oh wow, they're winning games, he's doing really good, but then you're watching Someday actually beat the shit out of him all game, and Flyco just wins because they have Ornn, and that's just kind of, Ornn was just busted. So I don't know, because it's like they're putting him on tank duty, and he was doing what they told, but he was also just getting smashed. And then when he plays Aatrox and these other things, I think he actually like it's hard to see the good sometimes when Flyquist loses when he has like a pick like Aatrox, but like in the last couple games they had, I think it's the TSM game, Viper had like a 5-man Aatrox queue, and he was like okay in lane, facing Set, I think from Broken Blade, but it just feels like he doesn't really have an influence on the game that much, and I guess it's just kind of top and how it's been. It's hard to have an opinion because
Mhm.
everyone around me on the social media and everything saying, "Oh, Viper doesn't look good. Viper's having mishaps. Viper's doing bad." And then the Flyquist bias in me wants to say, "Well, no, this guy's proven he can be really good before." But then I need to kind of combine everything to get a solidified opinion. I think just shoving him on Aatrox isn't going to do anything. I think you're just kind of you're putting him on safe picks, but he's not going to be able to really be proactive. And I think Flyquist is always kind of playing for, okay, let's get Power be able to scale, and let's hope Ignar can carry bot lane, and then Santorin can get objectives. Bam. Like, that's the Flyquist game plan, in my opinion, and is very one-dimensional.
Oh man, it just seems like he had a lot of time to grow, but then you've seen him actually carry certain games, so he has the mentality of how to carry a game and how to get ahead.
Of
I,
course, yeah.
I just don't think he's flexible.
Yeah, it's just the champ pool, but like, I don't know if it's Flyquist isn't letting him pick other stuff, or if it's just the meta doesn't really allow you to pick anything else. Like, I think with Flyquist, they're not technically locked in the playoffs, but I think like if the LCS season resumes, their remaining schedules like Immortals, Golden Guardians, 100 Thieves, and Team Liquid. I think the only team they would maybe lose to is Team Liquid. So I think Flyquist is a lock in my opinion for playoffs in top 3. But I just kind of don't know what Flyquist's game plan is going to be to try to like me get past like these brackets. Like they haven't beat C9. They've in their words, they said they were productive or more productive in their last game against C9. It was like 13-5 or something, so it wasn't like a complete steamroll compared to the first time.
The early game was close for a little bit there. I'll give him that.
There was like a fuck up team fight or something. I don't really remember, but
So,
yeah.
what is your opinion on Santorin? Mine is that he's kind of been always the same jungler, honestly.
Santorin, I think, is a reliable jungler. I think he's top 3. I think he's been consistent. But I mean, I don't think you're asking Santorin to carry games.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing I can really see Santorin improving on is like maybe trying some new stuff, because if you look at all these games, and I think this is more because jungle meta, I can't always speak on this because I can't understand everything about the LCS sometimes. I'm just assuming a lot of shit. But he seems to like really like picking Lee Sin, Rek'Sai, and Sejuani a couple splits ago. But like right now, it's mostly been like Lee Sin, Rek'Sai. Those are his picks, and I think maybe just try some new stuff. He's proven he's like insanely good at Karthus jungle. He was rank 1 last, but by spamming Karthus jungle, I think it's Jat, has been like asking a bunch of LCS pros to play because of the current jungle meta. Just play Karthus jungle. But I think a lot of criticisms people had is when Flyquist is doing bad, they're like, oh, Santorin isn't ganking, he's just perma-farming, just trying to kind of play for objectives and just killing over and dying. So I don't know if it's just kind of like he's feeling pressured to kind of gank more, because he has a pretty high ganking proximity this year. I don't think he's actually pressured to be ganking more. I think it's just like with a more reliable team, he can do more shit. But I think, Santorin is like the Flyquist jungler. I think he's the perfect fit for them. He's doing his job more than well. or like better than like what people will expect. Again, I just think like if you're asking me to like talk about every role on FlyQuest, Power of Evil's proven he can carry the team when they have a bad game, or even when they lose, he can still have like pretty good performances. Ignar is trying new stuff. Ignar has done mostly well besides that Shen game. Again, it's just, to me, it's just Turtle and Viper. Those are the weak links of the team, and I think they kind of have been for like a good amount of time now.
What about Sneaky? FlyQuest Sneaky?
FlyQuest Sneaky? One, I don't think that will ever happen, because I don't think FlyQuest has the money.
For his buyout? Yeah.
For his buyout, because, I mean, C9 still has the contract to him, and I think Sneaky isn't gonna... I mean, like, in some world, maybe... But I don't see FlyQuest getting rid of Turtle, and that's just me thinking, why would they just like get like ignore the player base? Like, he's not inting games or anything, and like the FlyQuest staff and the players know themselves best. Mm-hmm. If they think he's playing well and they're in the top 3, there's going to be no reason for them to remove him. There's no one they can really replace him with besides Sneaky, in my opinion. But I don't even think FlyQuest is considering that, because Turtle is the golden boy of FlyQuest. He's their label. He's their representative. He's the one that gets them views. He's the most recognizable player on their team. It would just make no sense from a brand perspective and fan retention perspective to get rid of him. And I don't want to get rid of him, but in terms of winning and taking that next step, if FlyQuest can get Sneaky, then yeah, I would choose Sneaky over Turtle. But I just don't see that ever happening.
Do you ever see, in like a couple years from now, when all this coronavirus shit is over, do you see FlyQuest ever winning a title in general, like a split?
They need to take that step. They've been I don't want to say they've been afraid to take, or if they've just not been able to, if they've been limited to take, but FlyQuest has always been that team to where, I think you asked me this earlier, they're always going to kind of be expected to be middle of the pack, make playoffs, maybe get past the first round, and then lose. Ooh. That's just kind of been FlyQuest. FlyQuest is like, Power of Evil has had these amazing games and such, but it's just like, FlyQuest has not beaten, besides TSM once, like by scaling, they have not beaten these teams that are just aggressively, in the conversation for going to Worlds or winning a title. They were nowhere even close to beating C9. They got better, yeah, but they were nowhere close to doing it. TSM completely destroyed them the last time they played them, and the only in the game before that, the only reason they won is because they scaled. And TSM picked a really kind of stupid comp, in my opinion, just to kind of go for an early game. But like, TSM's idea was to snowball early game and end the game, and they did that. Except they just didn't end the game, and they let FlyQuest scale, and that was kind of like, oh fuck, we lost. But FlyQuest has been that team to where, like, every now and then they'll get that win off of, like, that really good team. But when it comes to playoff time and best of 5 time, they've never been able to show it.
Do you think that's coaching staff? Like, just the strategic coach, assistant coach, the sports psychologist? Do you think it's anything with them that they're drafting wrong? Do you think they're not really putting certain players in certain positions with the draft to really make them succeed?
It's so hard because, like, the argument now is spring split doesn't matter, so it's more for people trying new shit and trying to, like, really buckle down for summer. But to me, FlyQuest coaching has always kind of been like a kind of gray area. Mm-hmm. They started with Think Hard, and he did well for a little bit, and then they started slumping. They got rid of him. Then they got Saint Vicious, and I think Saint Vicious is the best coach FlyQuest has ever had.
Honestly, yeah, he did so much.
He did so much for that team that was just god awful after the second or third split with the original roster.
Oh, well, oh my god, they had Stunt Flame and Keen. Yeah. Oh my god, Keen.
Well, no, Keen and Flame, in my opinion, were actually doing fine, but FlyQuest just never had a good support ever, and honestly, Ando just wasn't doing it, and it was really tough because Ando was smurfing his ass off in Academy, but he just could not convert it on the LCS stage.
And when 100 Thieves got Anda, I was like, what the hell? This guy just played so bad.
Yeah, I was pretty confused about that too.
They're like, we always wanted Anda over Media. So I'm like, no, there's no way anybody with a brain says that.
No, the only reason they wanted to get rid of Medius is because they were like probably in him got into an argument or something. Or, I don't remember. That was years ago.
Oh my god! Back in the day, all that drama came out. You're like, oh my god, guys, we're just trying to play League here. We don't even care about that shit.
Yeah, I'll never support Hundred Thieves for all the shit they had.
God. Stunt too. It's like they had JJ Stunt, Wadid, Lemonation at one point was their support. I was like, God damn, they never had that star. I think Ignar has been their best support throughout the years.
Ignar is easily the best support by far. Not like you don't even have to complete a split to just tell that Ignar's been the best support they've ever had.
Honestly, I would have him as one of my MVPs if I could use like 5 MVPs of the split. Ignar would be in there. Ignar's played amazing.
Yeah, I remember watching people talk about the MVP conversation, and they were basically saying Power of Evil, Ignar, Bjergsen, or anyone from C9. That was the argument, and I agree with it mostly. But yeah, to me, FlyQuest.
Say Bjergsen? Would you really say Bjergsen?
No, this is what they said. To me, I don't think Bjergsen really. I think Bjergsen is just kind of thrown in there because of recency bias.
Bjergsen will always get thrown in there, whether or not he actually had a good split in general.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's just Bjergsen is just getting recency biased with the time they talked about it because TSM is just 2-0-2 team. And when they 0-2, they look really bad. But when they 2-0, they look really good. So I think that's why people are kind of saying that. But I think Power of Evil or Ignar by far are in the conversation. But against people from C9, I would probably assume someone from C9 would win. Really good, a really like strong feeling I had months or years ago is I thought Saint Vicious should have won Coach of the Split rather than Reaper.
I thought the same thing too.
And my whole thing with that was people forget FlyQuest was actually tied for a second with C9, and whoever would have won this game would have automatically qualified for the Oakland playoffs. FlyQuest got destroyed, and then they played a bunch of tiebreakers, and it just kind of proved them wrong because FlyQuest was like tied for a second, and then they lost all their tiebreakers, and they ended 6th. So they went 2nd to 6th in like 2 days.
I remember.
And I was fucking pissed because I'm like, okay, St. Vicious isn't going to get Coach of the Split now because that's going to happen. They lose 3 out of 100 Thieves. No one's going to give a fuck about them. And that's what happened. I was pissed because FlyQuest had gone from this like really, really bad team that no one cared about after having like one really weird, good runoff split. And St. Vicious came in and fucking changed everything. And like they were doing really good. And it makes me really mad that that whole shit happened where he posted that something about like he said depression didn't exist or something. I was like, what?
Oh my god, I remember.
But I gave him, I don't want to say the benefit of the doubt, but like I was just so perplexed why he would say that. I watched his video on why he said that, and I'm not mad at him. And he apologized for it directly. So that whole thing's there. But from a PR perspective, FlyQuest had to let him go. I was really pissed about it, but like I understand why they did it.
I remember them. They would always try to fucking backdoor. They would always backdoor.
Yeah, they would always backdoor. It was really, really, really fun to watch, and it kind of garnered like a little more identity to the team too when he was there. But St. Vicious leaves, and they get Invert, and Invert was the academy coach, and Invert did well, but then eventually the whole summer split happened. They let him go, and now they're on to Curry. Invert. But now I don't really know how to feel because Lycus is doing well, and Curry has experience because Curry's been in the scene since 2016, and he was on the TSM roster and everything when they were winning, like the last time TSM won before they all broke up. But I don't know. The FlyQuest coaching decisions were kind of weird to me. I don't know if it's a bit of just like comfort picks because Nick Pham, the GM, had worked with David Lim before on Team Liquid, I think. I don't know who was out there. I don't know who they could have got, but to me, when I saw they picked David Lim after being on Clutch Gaming and then Excel, or he was on Roger Excel, I believe.
He was on Excel. Oh my god, man.
2 teams that did really poorly, in my opinion. And then they signed him to be assistant coach. I was like, really? Like, why? But these people know much more about the game than I do, and I'm sure. And I mean, they've proven the split that I've eaten my words about them, but. Yeah, FlyQuest has just always been that team to where, they've never had that Reaper, they never had the Doublelift or Jensen or Sneaky or anything. They've always just had good players and okay staff. They've just been that team that's been average. They do what you kind of expect them to, or they falter really hard. They never really go above and beyond expectations, with the exception of this split, because everyone had them, they're like, oh, FlyQuest is going to be terrible, which I thought was crazy. Like, I mean, like, to me, I was so surprised how people thought they were going to be so terrible this split. Like, I didn't think I was like so up my ass about them being top 3. Like, people were telling me, like, in private, they were like, oh, dude, you're crazy for thinking out. I'm like, really though? Like, you're looking at the team and you're telling me they're going to be 8th or 9th? Really? And now they're the top 3. People are like, oh my god, like, I can't believe this. And I'm like, I don't see how hard it was to really believe in it. I guess if they're just assuming that last split, but it turns out when you actually pay attention to stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like, hey, their internet didn't fucking work, or they're actually doing well, and like the gauntlet scrims, like, you can actually tell this team won't be atrocious as like some of the casters believe they were going to be.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to eventually make a video about casters in general, and certain things they do correctly and certain things that they do badly. But looking at FlyQuest from the past at one point, what would be your favorite moment from being a FlyQuest fan?
Oh, there's so many. I think seeing them actually win a best of 5. Okay, here they did win best of 3s back the first split, but like seeing them beat Golden Guardians in the best of 5 live was probably my favorite moment.
It was weird. It was weird because it was actually pretty close, though. It was really close.
It was super close. It was super close because Froggen was just carrying the shit out of Golden Guardians. Yeah. It was so heavy for him. He was carrying like sandbags upon sandbags of weight from that Golden Guardians team. But seeing them win that live was probably pretty good. Honestly, seeing Power of Evil and Ignar get signed, because I had actually been like this is so stupid, but like I would go on Twitter and I would at FlyQuest like during free agency, and I would at them to sign Power of Evil and Ignar, and I remember I talked to someone about it. They said they were actually pretty close to getting Power of Evil originally, but I think he signed with Optic or something, and that's when they had, or it was when he signed with CLG or Optic or something, and they got Pobelter instead. But like I'm like really happy they got those 2 players. That was one of my favorite moments. The backdoor games, those were fun. One of my favorite moments too was at the end of that Fly and a Stunt Turtle Flame roster. The last game of the split, Fly went Scion mid, and it was like Turtle going Kog'Maw, and basically the whole team just revolved around scaling for Kog'Maw, and Turtle did scale for Kog'Maw, and they won the game on the last game of the split. I was there, even though they weren't going to make playoffs. It just looked like they were having a lot of fun as a team, and I liked seeing that.
One of the most hype moments I remember was when Optic was trying to end the game, and then they aced him under hours.
God, yeah,
my God. That was a hype moment right there from them.
Dude, I vividly remember watching Power of Evil's face cam and him looking so tilted that game. Because I remember, like, I think FlyQuest posted a voice comment of that, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, we're over." And they're like, "Wait, we aced them, guys!" And then go. And they were like, "Holy shit, how did we win that game?" I remember watching as a fan. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they lost this like fucking 65, 70-minute game, and then they actually won it." I was like, "Holy shit."
Man, yeah. I remember that last game of the split. I'm like, okay, C9 has FlyQuest, and they got freaking. Who they had? They had like Echo Fox, and they lost them. I was like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit, man!
They lost to Echo Fox. That one was just like the.
It's a shit show right there.
I think that the time they lost to Echo Fox was the summer, right? Of last split. It was last summer.
Man, that was I think that's my most embarrassing C9. Being a C9 fan. Also, I'm a fan of G2 as well. But like being a fan and watching that last shit show Echo Fox game, I was like, what the fuck are we doing, man? That shit was bad.
Oh, I thought you were talking about FlyQuest.
My worst FlyQuest game? Oh, when they only played like hour-long games and shit.
At the beginning?
I think so, yeah. Or they had like their best of 3s initially look so kind of clunky with High, Balls, and Elimination, where like High would only just be on like Corki and Balls would just be on like Maokai.
Oh, yeah, I kind of remember those.
Remember C9 and FlyQuest were undefeated at 7-0 in best of 3s?
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was a long time. That was the match of the week, I remember.
The first split they had, it was really weird because FlyQuest was like 7-0 or something. But then they ended the split like 9-9 or something weird.
I don't know how they lost to C9 in that close best of 5 and were like, that you're not a bad team. Like that was a close best of 3, and they just plummeted right after that.
Yeah, it was weird because like I think if I remember correctly, FlyQuest was doing a bunch of really weird drafts and shit, and they were like throwing teams off and they were winning.
Moon, but then halfway, Evelyn. Oh my god.
Yeah, and halfway through the split, if I remember correctly, one of the casters said people just begun to figure them out, and they would just like play kind of safer picks into the FlyQuest crazy shit, and then FlyQuest would just kind of implode and lose games. But yeah, that's a long time ago. I barely remembered that stuff, but yeah.
Dude, like, just because their consistent thing what people say about them is always like they only do well at the beginning of splits because the other teams with better players have not gelled. I'm like, if they have potential to hit top 4 with average players, you think like, what can they do with like star players?
Yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of people have always said that, FlyQuest has always been that team to where, they'll start off really hot and then they kind of mellow out once, quote unquote, better teams just figure them out or mesh with their players. And yeah, I don't know. And it's a really weird feeling to have because, I really love the roster we have right now. But of course, if, you want me to be like the hard ass LCS fan I am, LCS is a team where you always want to improve. Like, fuck, why did Steve get rid of Xmithy? Of course, it's backfiring now, but if Roxa was playing to what people expected him to be playing, and he didn't have these issues, and TL was first, people would be saying, yeah, Steve made the right move, because that's how LCS works.
Yeah, you're kind of damned if you do.
You're kind of damned if you stay with the same shit. If you stay with the same shit, it's probably not going to work.
You're like, yeah, you're right. You're damned because people say, oh, you're never trying to improve or do anything, but you're also damned if you do, if you actually improve on something and then it just fails.
Yeah, so it's a very, very double-edged sword, and I really hope there's some way LCS can kind of figure out how to get rid of it, because it's like, everyone shits on LCS, you're not developing talent, but, you look at Academy, and, what are you supposed to do? I mean, C9 made that huge gamble with getting rid of Smoothie and Sneaky and benching Smoothie, Sneaky, Jensen, and having Zeyzal, Kumo, and all these other, and I think it was Keith or something at the time.
Yeah.
Try out and play all these things, and fuck, they got Zeyzal out of it and they got Muddy out of it too. I feel like these teams are kind of afraid to do that, but I think they have a right to be afraid, because why in all hell would Team Liquid right now, or not Liquid, why would C9 right now sub out Sven for their Academy AD carry? Why? Who would do that?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
or why would a 6th place team on the verge of playoffs be like, oh, we need to develop talent, so we're going to sub out one of our random players, with 2 games left in the split? No one's going to do that. So Academy to me is such a really weird thing, because it's people don't take Academy as seriously, and people like Surnefire. I think Kelsey, I forgot her last name, Kelsey Moores, she's I think she's the 100 Thieves Academy coach. She mentioned something really, really important that I really liked about Surnefire. She was like, well, now this sucks for Surnefire. He's going to be replaced by Broxo. Teal's doing shittily, and people are going to think that he's not a good jungler, even though he's actually been doing really fucking well in Academy. To me, I kind of call it the Anda effect, where it's Anda, right now, even the Evil Genius Academy, is smurfing an Academy. But I shit you not, if you put Anda on the LCS stage, and he doesn't do well again, people are going to say he's a bad jungler. And that's just how it works. That's just how LCS works, and it's really, really hard to accept.
Well, I think with the Surnefire point, it's more or less so that was also Doublelift as well, because Doublelift, pretty much admitting he wasn't trying, also screws over Surnefire, because, Surnefire cares that he does well, because this is Surnefire's career,
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happened with TSM and Spica. You throw Spica into the deep end, and then people just are going to think, oh my god, they had a new jungler, he sucked. Okay, now he's a bad player, and now he doesn't get a team eventually in the future. I just think, people need to stop doing that with people's careers. This is someone's career you are messing with, It matters to Surnefire, matters to Jensen, it's one of those things where I think there's genuinely good Academy players, but it's the fact that when they actually take that next step and put them in is the next thing, too, because some starters don't like having to share time.
Mm-hmm. I think, honestly, the only solution I can think of, and call me crazy, because I don't think this will ever happen, just because of terms of visas and players and just how LCS works in a whole. I think the only way NA can really develop talent is either revamp Academy in some way for it to matter more. Maybe, I mean, it would defeat franchising, right? If you had the other G teams play something, but I think you have to do 2 things. You have to make Academy matter somehow, and then have the worst teams from a split do something together. I don't know, play them in a best of 5 or something, or abolish spring and summer split and just make one big split, like NBA, MLB, and stuff. Yeah, people say it's boring. It's really hype in the beginning. People care in the middle, and then people care at the end. People care a lot for playoffs. But if you make one big split, in my opinion at least, you're able to try things without the consequences as hard. You're able to try new picks. You're able to try different players. Trades can happen in the middle of splits and stuff. So there's a lot of cons to this, but I think there's also a lot of pros to this. And I know I'm not the only one that's had this idea, but I don't think Riot will ever do it because I don't think the players want to do that. And I don't think Riot will ever want to do that.
One of my close friends on the channel, JTH, said the exact same thing you did, and I was thinking the same thing too. Why don't they just make it one big split, and then the first place team from like 9 weeks in goes to MSI, and then they take a break and they come back and finish the rest of the season?
Yeah, they could kind of do that shit the NBA was talking about earlier in the year, where the NBA was thinking about having like a mid-season tournament because, like, you know, people in the middle of NBA seasons don't care as much, right? Unless your team is like doing exponentially well. So yeah, I mean. Honestly, I don't think people are ever going to care for MSI that much. I don't think Rift Rivals is gone now, too. People are only going to care about Worlds or playoffs for the domestic regions. And so it would kind of be weird. It's like a con, too, to like fit in playoffs eventually sometime and then immediately go to Worlds. Like, I feel like that'd be kind of weird. So, like, maybe don't combine the splits, like, in equal games. So, like, maybe make it, like, 27 games or something. Or, I don't know. Like, you know, just not like, you know... don't make it a combination of both splits combined because then you have to go to Worlds and like you need time to prepare for Worlds and shit. So there's a lot of cons and there's a lot of like question marks around the whole issue. But LCS to me is never going to develop talent with the way it is now, especially not in best of ones. Like I think the only reasonable thing they can do without repercussions is go back to best of threes.
Did you like it when it was best of threes? Because I personally did. I personally enjoyed it.
I liked the best of threes too because, like, you know, there were games where there were weeks where people would get 2-0'd, but there were weeks where people would come back and people would be able to try new shit, and it wouldn't be like let's say FlyQuest took a really cheesy comp into something, right, and they completely shit on the other team. Let's say the other team is much better than them, but because they got cheesed by one game, FlyQuest takes this win. I just don't think that's how that should work. I think best of threes prepare you for international success more. But I know Riot only, you know, in this scenario cared about money and viewership, so that's why they went to best of ones. But yeah, there's a lot of there's like a lot of pros and cons to it. I wish it came back. A lot of people I know wish it came back too. Like, you know,
yeah, I do.
People
I
ask for
honestly
it all
miss
the
it.
time.
I honestly miss it because I think it was subconsciously making everyone better. But
Yeah,
because I would see certain teams get better, and then you're also looking at just more games to play to learn about how the meta is, and there's so much more benefit to best of threes because if you just take it from a results-based analysis, LPO and LCK, well, they play best of threes, and they always win Worlds. It's such a weird, arbitrary thing to say, but the best regions in the world play best of threes.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you say that, it's like, oh my god, well, they only did it because they got lucky, and it's like, dude...
No one would say that, but it's just
only for Europe. I'll say they get lucky. Europe gets lucky sometimes, and I love my European viewers. You guys get lucky.
Is LEC best of one?
LEC, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I think LEC players are just better.
That's also true.
That's a different topic for another time.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't really ever expect NA to do that phenomenal at Worlds. To me, the only care I have as a fan of NA is I just want FlyQuest to win playoffs. That's what I want. Of course, you know, if a NA team did go far in Worlds, I would, like, you know, be happy and support them. But to me, all my cares is FlyQuest just gets better and better because, you know, I'm super big a FlyQuest fan.
Actually, you have to wait to win a FlyQuest split because C9 is going to win this split. So you can have next split. You can have next split, though.
So don't worry, I'm not expecting FlyQuest to win this split.
Could you imagine if C9 and FlyQuest were in the fucking finals? Holy shit.
I think the only way FlyQuest would even get to finals is if they lost and avoided C9 in like a knockout bracket.
Oh my god, you saw like FlyQuest upset TL or TSM? Oh my god, they'd be so hype. Actually,
I don't think TL's making it. That's
a hot take. That is a hot take right there. Do you think they're just done for the split? It's over.
I think they're done. Yeah, I think they're out for the count. I think. Let me look at the standings. Well, I don't know how this is going to go now because LCS is suspended, but Liquid is 6-8, and there's 4 games left in the split, right?
Yeah.
Cloud9's making it, FlyQuest is making it, TSM's making it. 100 Thieves has been an upswing, but I think if I remember correctly, they have a really hard schedule ahead. EG has been upswinging too. I honestly think... I remember I was watching the dive. I was watching something with like the casters, and Golden Guardians has the head-to-head versus Team Liquid.
That is so crazy. You would never say that going into the split, though.
If Golden Guardians... beats if the if the split resumes. If Golden Guardians beats TL, they're done. There is like almost no way that TL would make it if Golden Guardians beats them again, because Golden Guardians has a head-to-head.
So in their rematch, if Golden Guardians wins, it's almost a guarantee they will not make it.
It's pretty much guaranteed. Not like 100%, but it's pretty much guaranteed. Because like people are saying the magic number is 9 and 9, or the magic number is 9 to get into playoffs. That's what the casters were saying, I believe. But Liquid, no, I just really don't see them making it. I don't know how the fuck Immortals are still there, but Immortals I think
are such a dog shit team.
I think Immortals is just being carried by like Soaz and Apollo and Haku.
Immortals are carried by their money. Their money.
Haka or Ica is just so bad.
One day when you're on the main the main podcast, if you don't have Ica as your 10th mid laner, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I'm so surprised.
I was watching Face Check and they were all like, okay, thank God we all put Ica at 10th. And I was like, yeah. I mean, poor Ica, dude. Everyone was shitting on him before the split, and then he's just kind of giving people a reason to shit on him in the split too. I always feel bad talking bad about players because they get so much shit all the time from like literally everyone on the internet. But if we're talking standings and we're talking like playoffs and players and stuff, Ica, yeah. I don't see him being better than any mid laner, really.
I swear, man, Reddit was the worst place when C9 dropped Sneaky. I had to debate with, like, I think 8,000 people. Not literally 8,000, but, a very good amount of people about... Because remember how you said you enjoyed when FlyQuest did a lot of changes, and I wanted change, I love Sneaky. I love Sneaky, but we've had the same AD carry for 7 years, man. I think it's time for a change.
I was indifferent to it because... Hear me out here. I've told a couple people this before, but so I worked at a sandwich spot like 2 to 3 years ago, and Contracts actually went to a high school in my district, about 30 minutes away. And Contracts is like a year or two older than me, I think. This is when Contracts was on C9, and I have a buddy who works at the sandwich spot who was like really good friends with Contracts because they went to high school together, and he was telling me, yeah, they wanted to build the whole team around Contracts. They've been wanting to drop Sneaky for a while at that point, because
what? No, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'm telling you the truth. But again, this is also just his friend telling me shit. So how believable can it be?
But it's like, why would he make that up though? It's like people don't say that on average.
No. I know for a fact that he knows Contracts, but he didn't know that much shit about League. So maybe he was just kind of saying shit to say it. But I'm not surprised because that split after Contracts had a bad split and then Contracts got sent to another team, that is when C9 started doing all those changes. That's when they went with they benched Jensen, Sneaky, and Smoothie, and they tried to bring up the county players. Because they had Sneaky for 7 fucking years.
Dude, I always give people the other arguments. They're like, well, why would we change Sneaky? He's always consistent. TSM, change their ADC, win splits. TL, change their ADC, win splits. IG, Fun plus Phoenix, Fnatic, all changed their AD carries. Well, not Fnatic, my bad. G2, Fun plus IG. Every team that's ever won anything always changes something. Whether or not it works out in that moment doesn't matter. At some point, if the change is what you needed, that is what you needed to win. All the best teams of all time always change something, and we were so we were so stagnant. And then I had to be in the group and have people bitch and moan that, well, C9 didn't win a title. Well, they changed Sneaky and they got Zven. Well, no, fuck Zven. He into TSM. It's like, dude, what do you want? You want to change? You got change, and then you're bitching about change. It's like, what can people do?
Once you're in those big team fan bases, I don't think there's any way where anyone's going to be appeased. Team Liquid fans aren't going to be happy because, we won 4 splits, so now we're doing bad for 1 split, now we're going to shoot the fan. Cry about everything. C9 fans are going to be like, oh, at least we're doing well internationally, and then they get cucked every time they go to the finals because they just forget how to play.
Hey, you be nicer, I'll kick you off this call, I'm just kidding.
But and TSM fans, they're like, oh my god, double lift, we got Sven and Mithy.
Bjergsen cocked down my throat. Oh, Bjergsen's cock. Oh, it's the same shit all the time. Bjergsen's the top 3 mid laner. If you don't have Bjergsen in your top 3, you're bad at the game. It's like, dude, he's not been playing that good. No, Bjergsen top 3.
Those big fan bases are never going to be able to be appeased, and I think a lot of players know that. So you don't see Bjergsen ever talking burn accounts talking to fans or shit, or a lot of those people like Sven doesn't even check Reddit anymore or and shit. I think honestly avoiding Reddit for pros is such a blessing because people on Reddit are just so stupid.
Dude, I remember, man,
they'll never be appeased ever.
They blamed Sven for inting TSM's game 5 against TL. Meanwhile, Bjergsen and Acadian literally in game 4 threw an actual game mid.
Yep. I don't know. There's just no way to ever appease these people. That's why, like, whenever I get really mad at FlyQuest, I kind of take a step back and I'm like, they're people too. Yeah, I care a lot about this team and I care a lot about them. But I can't just be a dick on the internet because I'm hiding behind a screen. These are people that genuinely read these messages, right?
Man, I'm the type of dude that would read all that shit. Because I have this instinct to actually know what someone is thinking about me. That's just me personally. But if I were pros, I would not read it because there's a bunch of just made up narratives in Reddit that don't even make any sense.
To me, I think. If you were to tell me the reason why C9 is getting rid of Sneaky is because he had a bad split or something, I think you're fucking insane. Sneaky didn't really not do that bad. I don't think he did bad at all. But I think C9 had a right to, try something new because they've had him for 7 years. That's my opinion.
Imagine 7 years the same dude. Just 7 years. That's literally, I counted, that's like 14 splits.
Yeah, I mean... Has it actually been 14 splits?
20. Oh. Well, it's 2 splits a year, so it'd be, 2 times 7, right? Yeah, it'd be 14. That's still a long... Imagine if they kept him this year. I told people, if we kept him this year and he does bad again, what's the excuse this time? Oh, it's always Vulcan. It's always the he got jungle attention. He always had great people around him. It's not all his fault, obviously, but it's people that are trying to justify keeping a player that has really not done much in a very long time.
Yeah, and to me, I think C9 had all the right to, try something new. But I think it's fucking insane that people try to insinuate that Sneaky was playing bad. And, because, sure, maybe he's a little biased because I'm listening to Sneaky's opinion on this, but Sneaky literally went over almost all the stats, went through literally every single game, and I sat there and I listened to him, and, yeah, people always have different opinions about it, but Sneaky did not play bad. Sneaky played a lot better than a hell of a lot of the other ADCs that split. And for people to say, oh, Sneaky's having a bad split, so we should remove him. No, that should not be a base to remove him. But if you are having international success at Worlds and you want to keep going, but you're not having domestic success, and you want, the highest morale and the highest chance of, going far and what you want as a team or as an owner, in Jack's opinion, yeah, try new shit. Literally, as you said, the best teams tried new shit. The Warriors got Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
You never see a team win a trophy and like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna sure, some teams probably do, but you're never gonna have an owner in their right mind that's gonna be like, okay, we just won this thing. No, I don't care. I don't give a shit what we do. Let's keep the roster the same and just hope for the best. Some people do that, but a good owner would be like, okay, I want to keep winning this. I want to keep making money. I want to keep appealing to my fans and growing my audience and growing my base. You're not going to just have the same shit.
I agree.
You can't have the same shit forever.
People need to stop.
That is the easiest and most direct way I can ever talk to anyone about C9 if they ask about Sneaky. That is why, they saw the potential they had in growing their academy team and trying something new. They get rid of Jensen. They get rid of Sneaky. Look where they are now. Sure, they didn't win. They should have won, in my opinion, versus TL.
The game 3 throw. Don't remind me of that shit.
I thought it was game 4 that they threw.
Yeah, it was game 4. My bad. Game 4 throws. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Shit tilted the fuck out of me.
In my opinion, I think last year when they threw? Or last split they threw?
Last split finals, yeah.
Because, last split it was C9 versus Team Liquid, and then the split before that was TSM versus Team Liquid, and then the split before that it was C9 versus TL again, and then the split before that it was TL versus 100 Thieves. Okay, TL versus 100 Thieves. TL won, deserved it, done. TL versus C9. C9 got swept. I was there live, I was really fucking surprised. But, TL deserved it, they swept them. TSM versus TL. TSM, Parth admitted that TSM had kind of overperformed that split, but they had a 2-0 lead on TL, I believe. They should have won, and I don't know what the fuck happened. C9 versus TL, they really should have fucking won, and I'm beyond how they lost that series. But honestly, I think TL, I don't think TL really deserved to win last split. I think Clutch Gaming and C9 just threw their series really hard on game 5 and game 4.
Yeah, that Clutch Gaming match where they pick fucking Karma top and Tristana mid, I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it's not really fair to me to say they didn't deserve to win because they did win,
Yeah.
so they technically did deserve to win. But like, yeah, as a fan, when I was watching, like, I really thought CG and C9 should have been able to close out this series, but they didn't.
That'd have been crazy finals though. CG versus C9.
Yeah, no, that would have been cool. And I'm still pissed that they CG or CG/Dig broke up that original roster. It just makes no sense to me.
And then coming into the split, I was like, Dig is not going to see eye to eye. Aphromoo, Frog, and Huni all want to play the game differently. There's no way that works out. Not even close. People are like, no, man, you're being so hard on Dig, man. Well, you gotta be a hater, bruh. I was like, dude, what do you want me to say? Like, Aphromoo and Huni, Frog, and all stated in interviews they want to play the game a certain way.
Yep.
At a certain point, it's like if these people are actually admitting this, it's like, what are you really arguing at this point? It's like when G2 admitted they got lucky beating RNG at the 2018 quarterfinals. It's like, if they're actually admitting they're getting lucky and you saying that they're winning by skill, it's like, bro, you're reaching here, man.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Dig, I just kind of knew Dig was going to be a shit show from the beginning.
You are not drinking that Dig Kool-Aid from week 1.
I was not drinking that. No, I didn't care. I didn't care that they were 3-0. It was just, like, the only thing I was optimistic about is Froggen looked like he had an actual team around him. But I was also just kind of like, Dig threw away a perfectly good team that they had that had so much potential. They were gaining a fan base. They weren't just Dig. Dig was just always kind of like, oh, it's Dig. They have whatever players and they do well. They're kind of like another FlyQuest, back then at least. But then, like, listen, I know the money was just way too much to not give up Vulcan for, but I don't know, why did they get rid of I mean, I know Demonte's on Academy now for them, but, like, they didn't resign Demonte originally. They let Cody walk. They let Lyra walk, which I was like, really?
Finally.
Oh, I thought Lyra was actually doing pretty well.
I thought he actually came together for his last split, but at that point, they're probably judging it off of, you've had so many more bad splits than good splits, it's not going to weigh out perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Lyra was kind of like a whatever one, I suppose, but to me, I thought, I honestly thought, like, I know we just went on the whole topic about the don't be complacent, always look for change, but, like, Dig had only played, like, I think it was, like, one split with that team, right? Or maybe two, but no, it was one split, because it was Cody. They were doing really, really fucking well, in my opinion. And then they just, throw it all away and just basically sign. Like, they just signed the TSM Jungle duo. Like, that's already going to be an issue. Because, you're signing two players of such equal talent that you're not going to know which one to start. And, hey, look, they're playing Acadian now after playing Greg for a couple of weeks. Froggen, good pickup. Huni, I don't really even know what I think about Huni, because, like, he's just a coin flip on whether he's going to carry or just in your game.
2.5 million just to get 5th place in LCS.
Oh, fuck, yeah, that too, the giant contract. And, I don't know, and, like, I don't know too much about Aphromoo, because I wasn't really there for, like, Rush Hour and the early CLG TSM days, but Aphromoo has never really looked that impressive to me.
Honestly, after those days, he has not been that... Ever since 2016 spring, he's not really looked that impressive. I think he brought it back in the split where he won MVP. I honestly thought he didn't deserve MVP that split. I thought Dardoch should have got it. Dardoch played.
Was that the one? Oh no, because he went to finals with 100 Thieves that first split.
Yeah, right? I just thought that Dardoch deserved it in that split. Dardoch played out of his mind. Imagine playing that well as a jungler. Being that level of a carry on tanks, anything, and not getting MVP.
What team was Dardoch playing for?
He was on Echo Fox when they had Phoenix, Altec, Adrian, and Huni.
Oh yeah, but didn't they like barely make playoffs or something?
No,
and not make it.
No, remember they were first with C9. Remember at one point.
At one point, yeah, but at the end of the split, like, were they even in playoffs that split?
They got first place, and I think second place. No, 100 Thieves got first place. Echo Fox got second, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Godly, man, what a weird split that was. 20 was when franchising first came in, but
I think it was the year.
You actually have to go, don't you?
Soon, yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say before we possibly head out soon?
No, if you have anything for me to answer, I think I've answered almost everything about that question I could. But I mean, if you have something else, I can shoot.
So for people who haven't been to the LCS, what's it like going? Because I've been to the LCS, I love going.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your opinion of it? Going with the viewer.
I think it's the. From 100% honesty, if you are a big fan of a team, if you are a big fan of LCS and a team, it is very fun. If you are just a fan of a single team, It's not the most fun because some people don't want to sit there for a couple hours and watch random teams play until their team plays. You see people leave all the fucking time once the TSM C9 TL games are over. All the fucking time. But to me, I love LCS as a whole, and I really like FlyQuest. I have a good time.
Yeah, I have a great time watching all the games, honestly.
Yeah, I have a great time watching all the games. Going there is cool. I think meeting everyone there is really cool. You get to see players walk around, and when they do the fan meets, you get to meet them. They sign your shit, and like
you talk to them. They're honestly great people. Honestly, everyone that said
really cool.
Doublelift was toxic. I've spoken to Doublelift before. He's not a toxic person because people are a little, sensitive online. These are great people, honestly. They're like, oh, his personality. You don't know his personality. You're his friend. How do you know his personality, though? What is his personality? They're like, well, he talks trash. Really?
I mean, here's my thing. I think League is different. Like, I could be on League right now, and I could have mute all and just, like, not talk to anyone. But then, like, I can go hang out with my friends. Like, I don't think League really represents the type of person you are. Again, this is just going to circle back to my whole argument. I think Reddit is just a piss hole of just people shitting on themselves and their opinions, throwing them like gorillas, That's just what Reddit is. That's what it always has been, and that's what it always will be. I don't think people can go up to Doublelift and be like, oh, you're toxic. Like, I don't think anyone has the balls just to, like, go up to Doublelift and say you're toxic. Like, because then, he's not just going to be like, oh, haha, funny guy. He's going to be like, he's either just going to ignore them because they sound fucking stupid, or he's going to be like, yeah, hey, I'm not. Like, I'm a person, too. League isn't the defining character of Doublelift. Like, because he's a person.
What I say to people is that, let's say you were in front of Doublelift's face. Would you say exactly what you just commented on this Reddit thread or Facebook post? Would you say that exact thing into his face? Or yeah, bro, I'd do it. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Come on, bro.
Yeah, like, no one would.
Man, dude, holy crap. You go into the LCS is fun. I like driving down there. The tailgates are always fun. You get free stuff. It's like...
Oh, yeah, you get all the free shit. That's really cool. I like that a lot.
Oh, my God. I could have got a freaking C9 hoodie, and I don't know why I didn't. I chose to get a C9 shirt. Good Lord. Bad decisions, man. Good Lord. But,
yeah.
The only thing I never liked about FlyQuest is, like, their website. It looks really weird.
Yeah, their website kind of needs work. Well, here's the thing. I don't think many people go to their website, so I think it's not really a priority by them. But their website's kind of fucked up, like just from a web design perspective.
Yeah, like it doesn't show the jerseys. It doesn't show like a ton of shit.
No, it shows the jerseys. But I don't know. I just don't think that's a priority for them right now. I think eventually they should fix it, but I don't really think too much about that.
They have their own podcast that I was listening to. Like, they have some good stuff going for them. It just needs a little bit of refinement.
Yeah, they're just not getting the views. I mean, that's just straight up. Like, if you listen to what I said on Hotline League, what they talked about, they're just not getting the views. And I'm not the type of person to talk about that. I don't really know how that shit works, but yeah. I think their content's really good. I think people should check it out more. It's different, but the thing is, being different always isn't good to some people. Like, some people literally just want Breaking Point. They just want,
yeah,
they just want the 30, 40-minute episodes of like, oh, we just lost the game. Oh, man, you fucking entered that lane. Oh, you piece of shit. Oh, no. That's what people want, and that's... People don't, like, some people want to see wholesome shit like FlyQuest going go-karting because, like, went 2-0 and shit, and, like, Ignar just being really funny. Some people don't like that, and that, that's fair. I can respect that. But to me, FlyQuest, like, I can just summarize almost everything I've said here. FlyQuest wants to take that next step. I think they kind of need to be open to the things like that C9, TL, TSM did, Turtle's locked up till 2022.
Holy crap, good luck with that.
Right? And, like, but he's their branding image, so it won't really make sense for them to remove him. If they're complacent where they are, and they think, hey, if we just believe in ourselves and we can be really good, maybe we'll go to finals, maybe we'll go to the Worlds. And who knows? Maybe they can. I hope they will. But, like, if you want a statistics perspective, Viper and Turtle are kind of that weak point, and everyone's saying that, and as much as I love them as people and players, it's kind of true.
Honestly, I'm actually subscribed to their channel. I subscribe to a lot of the League YouTube channels for just in general, like esports thing in general. I like some of their content. The issue with some of their content is that people just don't watch it. It's actually pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
But like Fly Vlogs, it's like, okay, like it's not called the Fly series. There's like on Cloud9, there's TSM Legends. They're just called a Fly Vlog. It's like, that sounds kind of wholesome.
Yeah, I think they kind of need to develop more things specific to them because they have a lot of things specific to them, but people don't know about it. Like, I think the really cool thing that they're doing with the fly vlogs is they swap off a player to host it each week, right? Like last week is Curry, and like it's good, but they need to do more shit. They need to like, there's something I really want to tell you, but I don't think I can. But FlyQuest will be doing something cool eventually. Not to say they haven't done anything cool, but they're doing more stuff in the future. So I'm optimistic about it. Yeah,
I want to see more stuff with their own.
Trisha, yeah,
yeah. I would try to contact her for an interview. I don't think she'd respond, but I think she's been a great person to really change FlyQuest and their image because
Trisha has done so much for them.
Imagine just coming in like one split and be like, no, this is what we're doing. This is how we're gonna game people.
Yeah. Well, she's been there for a while. It's just now she's COO, I believe. I don't know what she was before, but now she's COO. She has more of like the reins of the company, from what I can understand.
Man, but this has been fun. Oh my god! Actually, it's weird. I actually have two people from Hotline League, you and Khan, who went on for a Hotline League. Man, it's been pretty crazy. You know, it's gonna suck honestly without League of Legends content. I'm trying to think of stuff to do for for this channel specifically because my main YouTube channel is for like something else, and that has enough content to do for like a long time. But this one, the LCS is a big portion of views for the channel too. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah. But I mean, hey. Time to be creative.
No! I don't want to do it. I want to just look at e-girls' tits. Why can't I do that?
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Go ahead, man.
Dude, if I ever went to the LCS and I saw Pokimane, oh my god, man, I would probably pass out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna pass out. I would ask her to do my YouTube channel intro. Actually, that'd be pretty cool.
Man, that's a cool way to get views.
Imagine, like, I would make so many people jealous getting a picture with Pokimane.
I've met Tyler 3 times. I've met Pokimane twice. I've met Lily Peachy twice.
Oh my god! I'm talking to a celebrity here, guys. Oh my god!
Alright. Thank you so much for having me on, man. I gotta get ready for student soon.
Yeah, is there anything you want to say before we close out?
No, thank you so much for having me. This is the first time I've done a podcast like this in a very long time.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Fun.
Hope it was nice.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much.
All right.
And I might be doing some of my own shit too, and I'll reach out to you.
Oh yeah. It's nice talking to you. Have a great day, dude. I gotta go too.
Have a great day.
Hi there, guys! Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.